Let's talk about a hard truth, one that might sting a little at first, but stick with me. Women aren't attracted to nice guys. Now, before you rage comment or shut this off, hear me out. I'm not saying women dislike kindness. I'm not saying they're turned off by respect, generosity, or real emotional depth. And I'm definitely not siding with those alpha male types who preach that treating women with cold indifference is the key to desire. That's not just wrong. It's the opposite of everything I stand for. So what do I mean? When I say nice guys, I'm talking about a specific kind of man. The one who bends over backward to please, who smothers his own opinions to avoid conflict, who sacrifices until he's empty, all while hoping his kindness will be a bargaining chip for love. That's not true kindness. That's fear wearing a mask. And today we're going to peel it off. To understand why this act backfires, how it hurts you, and most importantly, how to fix it. So, who exactly is this nice guy we're talking about? Picture someone who constantly says yes when he wants to say no. Someone who molds himself into whatever he thinks others want him to be. He's the human equivalent of a doormat. Always accommodating, always agreeable, always putting his own needs dead last. His motto? If you're happy, I'm happy. But here's the painful truth. That's not genuine kindness. That's fear in disguise. What makes this behavior so unattractive? It's not the giving, it's why he's giving. Real kindness comes from abundance. This comes from scarcity. Every sacrifice is really a silent plea. Please like me. Please stay. And women can smell that insecurity from a mile away. It's not that they're turned off by generosity, they're turned off by the desperate need for validation hiding behind it. Think of it like this. On one extreme, you've got narcissism, all take and no give. On the other, the nice guy, all give and no take. And here's the kicker. Both are equally unhealthy. One is drowning in selfishness, the other in self-abandonment. Neither makes for a good partner. The sweet spot? Someone who knows his worth isn't up for negotiation. Someone who gives freely but never gives himself away. Let me tell you about the quiet hell of being a nice guy. You give and give. Flowers for no reason, always available at 2 a.m., swallowing your opinions to keep the peace. And then comes that sinking feeling. When you realize she's not giving back. You're pouring love into a cup with holes. And instead of walking away, you just pour faster. Maybe if I give more. Maybe then. But it never comes. Here's what no one tells you. That bitterness creeping in, that's your soul's way of saying enough. When you hear that voice whispering, "Am I not good enough?" That's the real tragedy. Because you were never the problem. Your kindness wasn't the issue. It was treating love like a transaction. I'll be nice and you'll owe me affection. True kindness doesn't keep score. It gives freely, without an agenda. And the moment you expect repayment, that's not love anymore. That's emotional capitalism. I know this pain personally. That simmering resentment when she doesn't notice your sacrifices. That's not her failing to see your worth. It's you failing to declare it. Every time you swallow your needs to keep her happy, you're not being noble. You're teaching her your happiness doesn't matter. And worse, you're starting to believe it yourself. After years of coaching men and studying relationships, here's the counterintuitive truth. Women don't want a nice guy or a bad boy. They want a real man. And what does that look like? Let me paint the picture for you. First and foremost, authenticity. Not the rehearsed, polished version of yourself you think she wants, but the unapologetic real you. Women have a sixth sense for fakeness. When you're confidently decisive, "I'm taking you to this amazing Italian place Friday at 7. That's not bossy. That's attractive. It shows you have taste, can plan, and most importantly, that you're not afraid to take the lead when it matters. But here's where nice guys get it twisted. Being assertive doesn't mean being an asshole. The healthiest women crave an equal partner, not a servant or a tyrant. They want someone who challenges them intellectually, who stands his ground respectfully, who brings out their best through his own strength of character. That jerk who plays mind games? He might attract wounded women temporarily, but those relationships always crash and burn spectacularly. True confidence is quiet but unshakable. It's setting boundaries without anger, taking accountability without self-flagellation, pursuing your passions without needing constant validation. Most importantly, it's the ability to walk away when something isn't right for you, not as a manipulation tactic, but because you genuinely respect yourself too much to settle. Think of the most magnetic men you know. They're not necessarily the best looking or wealthiest. They're the ones completely at home in their own skin. That's the sweet spot between needy and indifferent. That's what creates real attraction. Let me tell you about the cruel irony of being a nice guy. You bend over backwards to be loved, only to attract exactly the wrong people, or drive away the right ones. There are two paths this toxic cycle takes, and both lead to the same dark place. First, you become a magnet for emotional vampires. Narcissists, users, people with unhealed trauma. They can smell your self-abandonment from miles away. They'll take your kindness as weakness, your generosity as an invitation to exploit. And here's the sick part. You'll stay. You'll tell yourself, if I just love her harder, if I sacrifice more, she'll change. But she won't. Because why would she? You've shown her there are no consequences for treating you poorly. The second outcome? Even worse in some ways. When a healthy, emotionally available woman comes along, she'll leave. Not because you're too nice, but because your constant people-pleasing feels fake. There's no spark because there's no real you to connect with. And when she walks away, it confirms your deepest fear. See? I'm not enough. But the truth is, you were never giving her a chance to love the real you, just a hollow performance of what you thought she wanted. This is the nice guy's curse. Your fear of rejection creates the very rejection you feared. Your desperation for love makes you unlovable. And until you break this cycle, you'll keep attracting relationships that drain you, or watching good ones walk away. If you recognize yourself in these patterns, here's the good news. This isn't who you are. It's what you learned to survive. That constant need to please, that fear of rejection, those aren't personality flaws. They're scars from childhood wounds you didn't choose. Maybe your feelings were always dismissed. Maybe love felt conditional, like you had to earn it through perfect behavior. Whatever the source, healing begins when you stop asking, how can I make her stay? And start asking, why am I so afraid to be left? Here's your roadmap to recovery. First, rebuild your foundation of self-worth. Not the fake alpha bravado, but the quiet certainty that you matter regardless of relationship status. Second, learn the art of boundaries. Not walls to keep people out, but gates you control. Give generously to those who respect them, walk away from those who don't. Third, and this is the hardest part, practice vulnerability. Not oversharing, but the courage to say, this is me, take it or leave it. And fourth, cultivate a life so rich in purpose and passion that no relationship could ever define your worth. Beware the false prophets selling toxic masculinity as the answer. That indifferent alpha act? It's just another mask. As insecure as the nice guy persona, just meaner. Real confidence comes from security, not superiority. From knowing you're enough, not pretending you're better. This journey isn't about becoming someone else. It's about unbecoming everything you're not. The man you're meant to be is already there, buried under years of shoulds and supposed tos. Your job isn't to create him, just to uncover him. One honest choice at a time. So, here's your final takeaway. Straight from one recovering nice guy to another. Quit being nice. Start being kind. What's the difference? Nice is fear in a smiling mask. People-pleasing to avoid rejection. Giving to get. Shrinking yourself to fit someone else's expectations. Kind is love in action. Generosity without strings. Honesty without cruelty. Strength without domination. Nice bends. Kind stands firm. Nice says, whatever you want. Kind says, here's what I have to offer. Take it or leave it. And here's the liberating truth: you're not for everyone. Some women will walk away when you start showing up authentically. Let them. That's not failure. That's the universe clearing space for the right one. The more you heal, the less you'll attract emotional vampires and the more you'll draw in partners who match your energy. Not because you've manipulated the outcome, but because you've become the kind of man who naturally attracts healthy love. This isn't about tricks or tactics. It's about transformation. Stop abandoning yourself to keep others and watch how the right people stay. If today's conversation touched something inside you, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share and subscribe so we can keep these honest conversations going. And if you have a story of your own, or need advice on something you're carrying in silence, drop it in the comments. I read every word, and who knows? Your story might become the next video that helps someone feel a little less alone. This is Marriage Matters, and your voice matters here.